Okay, I am super excited about this one. This is actually one of my favorite gloves of pretty much all time. Um, these are going to be the Rival RS1 leather pro sparring gloves. I got these in 16 ounces, as you can see here. They came in about at a decent weight. One was 15.6, the other was 15.9, I believe. So one of them was very close, one of them was about half an ounce, a little too light. Other than that, they're really good. I got them in red. I think that I was needing a lot of red gloves, so I think the red looks really sharp. I see right here, they have like a printed Rival logo. One of them is kind of faded already, and the other one is a little more clean. So that's actually how it came, surprisingly. But that's not a big deal for me. I don't care that much about that stuff. This is that 20-year original replica model, so it's going to be the real genuine leather model. You can even see it here. They have a nice silicone patch here, and then you have like a patch right here that says 20 years original. I went for the leather because, ultimately I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the fake leather stuff. It's just, when I buy stuff, I like to buy it with the real leather. It's just my style. I'm collecting them, so at the end of the day, I kind of want real leather. But actually, when it comes down to it, I think the stitching of the one that's not real leather is probably going to be better than the one that's leather. But I don't care too much about that as well. So this is going to be a full grain leather construction. It's going to be 1 millimeter thick. So you can see here, it's not too bad. It's decently thick leather, so it actually feels different than the leather that's on the let me see, which model is it? The SFH Guerrero model, the soft foam horsehair model. It feels different of a leather. So if you're expecting the same leather and you have that glove, you're probably not going to get it. This one's a little more textured. I don't know if you can see it through the camera. It has a little more of a texture to it. So I did notice that. And I actually prefer this leather a little bit more than the other one. The other one obviously feels very, very soft to the touch, but I do prefer this. In terms of my first impressions, obviously everyone's first impression when they see the glove is going to be about the cuff here. It's going to be that angled lace track here. The Ergo lace track system. I guess it's 15 degrees. It's kind of an X, so it does do really, 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 really well with the laces and, wrapping with the laces, which I think is a really cool thing. So I'm really impressed so far. When I first got these out of the box, the first thing that I thought of was how compact they were, because I did not expect them to be compact. Now, when you look at them from this side, it kind of looks thick, right? In terms of the thumb, it's a nice big thumb, and it kind of feels thick and thick padded, because obviously the padding on top of that is a multi-layer padding, and it's what they say on the side is going to be 1.75 inches thick of high density multi-layer padding. So because of that, there's a ton of padding. So when you see that, it seems more thick. But when you actually look at the glove in terms of this, it's super slim. And I'll give you like a representation, because they say that the SFH model is supposed to be slim as well, and it's supposed to replicate a fight glove. But when you put it up against this glove, the SFH glove looks a little, in my opinion, a little more wide. In terms of thickness, they're very similar, but obviously I still think the SFH is a little more thick in terms of the hand compartment. In terms of the wrist, it's very, very different. Obviously, this is more of a flat wrist. This has obviously that cone shape, circle type wrist. So that's also another thing that I thought about when I saw these gloves. I thought how unique this was, because it's not flat like a normal glove. It actually is supposed to conform to your forearm, which is very nice. Now, as in terms of the inner side and the inside, the liner is a cloth liner. So it's very soft. I wouldn't say it's so much like it's moisture wicking, because it's not. I think you'll definitely sweat in these gloves, in my opinion. You'll definitely sweat in the gloves. It's a very warm glove. So that's, if I had anything to say about it, that's probably one of the things that people are going to notice the most. This glove could ultimately, if you use it a lot, might have a little bit of a smell, but I'm not sure. I don't have that issue quite yet, but I could definitely feel my hands get really hot in this glove. And a lot of reason is because of that cloth liner, and there's no air holes in this glove at all. With all that foam, especially that thick layer of foam here, and no air holes and all that really, really soft, it's extremely comfortable, don't get me wrong. But you do get the sweaty hands with this glove. In terms of where this glove is made, the tag, if you could see it, it's going to say made in China here. So that's different as well. Most of the gloves I have are made in Pakistan or India and stuff like that. China, I do have a couple, but you know, it's becoming less common because Pakistan is beginning to pretty much make everything at this point. So I want to be completely honest with these gloves. I fell in love with these gloves, so I'm trying to be as objective as possible. But even when it comes down to the imperfections of the glove, I feel like I love this glove so much I look past it. So some of the imperfections are obviously, you're gonna see a stitching on the leather versions here. They're a little pushed out. There's going to be stitching kind of bulging out here, and it's not the cleanest stitching in the world. You're going to see stitching kind of poking out in certain areas of the glove. Like this portion is kind of, not so hot. Even when you come to this portion of the glove, you automatically see the stitching right here popping out. You'll see that. You'll see that just the stitching isn't perfect inside this lace system. But to be honest with you, I don't expect it to be with the actual leather version. I know with the, whether it's the synthetic leather version, I know that it's going to be cleaner in terms of the stitching. I just think that this is what you're really going to get with the leather version of it. So you can even see here, there's some poking out of the stitching here. I don't care, honestly, because regardless of all that stuff, this turns out to be one of the best gloves I've ever had because of how it feels, essentially. You know what I mean? So when I think of the grip bar, I would say it's a bigger grip bar and it's, medium in density, but the shock is when you put your hand in the glove, right? So when I put my hand in the glove, the first thing I feel is just ridiculous amount of comfort. But just that overall, there is on the inside here is an extremely big kind of secondary grip bar on the fingertip compartment. And it's almost, I would say, even as big as the grip bar here. And you could really grasp down on that grip bar. And I think that is so nice. I feel like it just feels like you're, holding like I don't know how to explain it, but it makes you feel like you could really, really make a nice tight fist with this glove. The thumb is extremely comfortable. I would say because of this is different as well. It's not just like a piece of leather that's holding the thumb together. It's this long piece of webbed leather here. It kind of feels a lot longer, a lot bigger here. So that's to keep that in mind. It's a little different because when I put my hands in here, it kind of feels like this part of the thumb kind of goes out a little bit. Like I said, that doesn't really matter if you place your thumb in the right spot. In terms of that, I think that this fist position is really nice as well. When you put your hands in here, I mean, my knuckles are here, so obviously there's going to be a spot where you're going to hit, closer to here than you are the actual knuckle area. But that's what a lot of gloves with a rounded surface does. These are one of the most protective gloves I've ever had and the most comfortable gloves I've ever had. And they fit so nice that I'm just like in love with them. So when I use the feedback of the glove is kind of one of my favorite things as well. It has like this unexpected pop to it and just a nice overall feel. Like when I'm hitting the bags, it feels just really, really, really good. So that just makes me, like the glove so much, especially when I was hitting the bag. I was very surprised because ultimately I think of this as a sparring glove. And I think that because there's so many people out there who have this as a sparring glove and it's like their favorite thing. And when they get this glove, it's like the only glove they buy. And I see why that's the case. This is a very, very good, it's very well padded, very good sparring glove. But in terms of everything else, I mean, I was really shocked at how it performs on the bags, and just really shocking how this lace system really, when you cinch it up, it looks clean. You know what I mean? It looks really nice, and it does a really good job, you know, ultimately at keeping your hands really, really nice and straight. I will say the glove is a little top heavy, but I think it's because, obviously, it's because of this portion, you know. We're talking about it's not really a flat piece of leather here. We're talking about cuts in between the leather here. So essentially you're gonna see a little bit more of a flat. I don't think that affects me, not one bit, honestly. The laces, extremely long laces, and I really love that. They're really, you know, despite what I would call imperfections, I don't care too much about them because this is such a great glove. You know what I mean? Ultimately, the padding here is a medium padding, which is, you know, multi-layered high density foam. I'm not sure what the foam necessarily is, but it's a pretty good, nice, comfortable foam. It's not too dense. It's nothing like that. The break-in period wasn't terrible or anything like that. It's not like some of the other gloves you'll see out there that have the break-in period. You have to go 20 rounds or whatever to kind of get it soft. This was already soft. The glove was already good, and it seems really durable. In my opinion, it seems very, very durable. The performance is way up there, you know, and I understand now. Now I understand. Also, this portion right here, some people say they don't like it. For me, I have, if you could see, I guess I would have maybe a little thicker arms compared to some other people. So for me, this worked out pretty nice, and it wraps around my hands very well. This really, really cinches up around my arm. So maybe that's really a big reason why I love them as well. Maybe if you have smaller wrists or smaller arms, you might have some issues. Maybe there'll be a gap in there. I'm not sure. But, you know, I really can't, you know, I had to mention the stitching and stuff like that. But these are one of those gloves that I feel like are so special that, you know, they're easily, you know, top 3 favorite glove for me. And that's saying something because I didn't expect it to be. So I think this purchase was probably one of my favorite purchases of all time because I've always wanted this glove for years. This glove originally came out, I think, in 2003. So it's nice that they came back with it. They didn't change anything. So I understand why it's so great. So for people out there who are, you know, on the fence, I wouldn't be. These gloves are so good, so good. And I'm, you know, I feel like I'm glazing the glove a little bit. And I normally wouldn't do that, but this glove is, you know, it really is special to me. These gloves they came in, they were $230 when I bought them. I believe they still are now, and I believe you can still get a discount code on top of that at the Rival website. And maybe you can get a better deal on Forza's website. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of this whole thing, I'm like, you know, it's very, you know, it compares, you know, I really love the RFX Guerrero sparring gloves. I really do. The horsehair versions, and those are really, really good. And I like those too, and I think those were like one of my favorite sparring gloves. These are turning out to be, in my opinion, I like them more than those. And that might not even be the best opinion in the world, but, you know, I love how compact it looks and sleek. I love how it feels. I love how it feels in the bag, on the mitts. I love how this is an excellent sparring glove, honestly. I haven't got to, you know, really run this to the ground yet, but this is going to be a glove that I think I'm going to pick up a ton. But, you know, if you're into something that you want to be more perfect and uniform, you don't want any imperfections on the stitching, this is probably not going to be the glove. But I'm not crazy. I don't really care too much about the imperfections on the stitching as long as the stitching holds up. So if anything happens, I'll keep you posted. But as of right now, these are probably my favorite Rival gloves that I have. So like I said, this is my review. I think this is a fantastic glove. I think everyone should probably get a pair of these, at least for sparring. And trust me, I think you're going to fall in love with these. All right.